Machine.
Hi there, it's Claire here, and welcome to Hot Pod Time Machine. This is the podcast where we discuss a decision from our past which changed the trajectory of our future. And I'm very happy to welcome a lovely guest for this episode. I love her to bits. It's the wonderful Nicole Tompkins. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Claire. Guess who else I love to bits? Oh, I just wanted to use the word to bits because it's one of my favorite things that you on that island tend to use. And I think it's such a great word. Claire, I also love you to bits.
I love it to bits. This is going to be the podcast, you guys. It's just going to be like a loving.
Precisely. Absolutely.
And that's the end of the podcast.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. A decision that changed my life was saying yes to meeting Claire in person. And then the rest is history. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye. This was Hot Pod Time Machine. Guys, bye. Imagine if that was the podcast. I love it. Oh my god. It would make my job way easier.
Claire changed my life.
Well, I do change it for the better or the worse. I mean, it's really debatable.
Look at you. You're a life changer. Y'all can't look at that face and not be like, yes, this woman is out there changing lives, bringing joy, getting the info, getting the deets, making the entertainment happen. That was a sentence.
Before I met you, because we met recently and it was at Insomnia Gaming Festival, and yes. Maggie and Stephanie were like, oh my god, Nicole is so amazing. She's so amazing. You're going to love Nicole. And Maggie was like, she's good people. You're going to love her. And you did not disappoint at all.
Oh, thank goodness. Because when Maggie says she's good people, you got to live up to Maggie saying she's good people.
Maggie's incredible.
Which is good news because Claire had sent me an email to be like, hey, do you want to whatever? And guess who just never responded? It's me. It's me. Hi.
It's okay.
The problem, it's me. But then when I met her in person, it was like, hi. And she's like, I sent you an email. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay, let me. Did you? Went and found it. I was like, oh, that's so weird. Look, I favorited it and everything with an intention to respond and then didn't.
I'm so sorry. Because I feel like, so for those who don't know, I emailed all of the people that were appearing at Insomnia Gaming Festival, including Nicole, and Nicole was the only one that didn't respond. And then Nicole was like, I didn't get an interview.
I didn't get an interview? And why did you get to come hang out and promote? Claire's like, I sent you the email.
Oh no. Okay. And I didn't want to chase it up because
Sorry, Claire, messenger pigeon moving forward, unless I have a small fuzzy critter in front of me saying, hey, focus, look at this, check this out, you need this. It's gonna get lost.
Parchment in a bottle in the sea.
Thank you. Yes.
Because that's how she rolls. We're going old
I'll be at
school.
the beach at this time, at this date, and this better be the most romantic bottled note I've ever seen.
It's just you open it up. There's a love heart next to it, but it's like interview ?
Yes! Oh my gosh!
Yes, you haven't signed this, but I am totally up for it. I don't know who you are, mystery person.
Absolutely, I'm in. You sent me a message in a bottle, I'm doing your interview.
If you could put a message in a bottle, I've never asked this question to anyone before.
Oh.
Like, this is the first, you guys. Guys, if you see me at Comic-Con, this question's going into rotation now, If you could put a message in a bottle and put it out into the sea, what would it be?
So it's funny because I will also put this one on prints and stuff like that when people are like, hey, would you write a word of encouragement or something like that I can look at? And it's just, I mean, it changes all the time based on mostly what I'm telling myself. But I think one that I really like and I feel would be really whimsical to get in a message is just, you're always exactly where you're meant to be.
Oh.
And I just like that, the idea of opening that up and being like, oh, wow, that's true. Even if you're in hard times or challenging times or it's not going great, you can rest assured, one, it will pass, and two, you're exactly where you're meant to be. This challenge is part of your journey. It is shaping you, it is growing you, it is preparing you, and you're always expanding. So, I mean, that's a really me growth mindset kind of person, but I think that message often brings me peace. So I would put that in a bottle for someone else.
I love that message because it's something I know now, but when I was in my 20s, I didn't think like that because a big part of my personality is someone who's I'm quite fiery, very impatient, And
No.
it,
You?
no,
Oh,
fair.
no.
I've chilled out. This is me chilled out, Nicole. Can't you
No,
tell?
I've always thought you were like incredibly shy.
Hey, look, I'm an extroverted introvert. That's
Yeah,
how.
no. Same. Same.
Yep, I'm
We
fine.
we we understand each other. Give me your hand. Give me your hand.
Got you. I got you.
We understand each other, Claire.
I got. Oh
Do
my
you feel
god,
that?
I can really
Do
feel
you
it.
feel that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I know.
For those listening
Fine.
along on Spotify, they're like, "What the hell are they
What is
doing?"
happening?
They're just making weird sexual noises.
We would never.
I feel it.
Okay, sorry. I'm so focused. Did I derail this entire podcast? Maybe.
No, have you seen the Maggie episode and the Stephanie
Oh my
episodes?
gosh, I'm sure they're also completely unhinged.
No, they're really unhinged. I think at one point we decided that Tarot Cat, who you will meet at some point, Tarot
Oh, good.
Cat's companion will be Astro Pussy, and that's Maggie.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to show you
Sure,
Tarot
sure, sure,
Cat. Let me just.
Maggie, our floating space cat.
This is Tarot Cat.
Oh wow, Tarot Cat is so flat. Ma'am, you are the flattest cat I have ever seen.
Tarot Cat does tarot. He's a cat that lives behind a trash can and is from Brooklyn. He sounds like this. Yo, my beautiful souls, it's Tarot Cat here. That's Tarot Cat. Yep.
For those listening on Spotify, you cannot see my shocked face, but it is just speechless.
I will send you some video stuff later.
Okay.
You'll
Marvelous.
see. You'll see. He features on a WeChat. So that's Tarot Cat, and Maggie was like Astro Pussy. She was like, "Yeah, I'll be Astro Pussy." So that's what
Okay, great. Great. That sounds like a very Maggie thing to say.
So far, Nicole, we're doing great. We're doing just.
Oh, yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah. Feeling awesome. Feeling awesome. Wonderful. Alive. Thriving.
We're going to get to the subject of the podcast, which is now. I don't have a fancy segue. I'm just saying we're going to talk about it now. So
Great.
Here we go. Hit me with
Okay.
it. A decision from your past which changed the trajectory of your future.
Okay.
Go for it.
I kind of have two. I know I'm cheating, but one's really cute and one's like really impactful. And I'm going to go with cute first. Because I thought about this, and I mean, I just have to say, like, you know, kind of like, how did you get started in the thing that you're most passionate about? When I was 6 years old, I auditioned for a community theater production of Annie with my dad, who also auditioned. And I think our really like family decision, like, let's just go audition. Originally, I went because another friend of mine was incredibly shy, and her mom wanted her to like audition for this play. And I was like, oh, I'll go with you. It'll be fine. It'll be great. And I mean, choosing to get up there and sing happy birthday for, you know, Annie at 6 years old just started the ball rolling, because I just caught the bug of storytelling at a really, really young age. And I loved it. I loved the people. I loved the dynamics. I loved the music and the way the audiences reacted and cared and were so invested. And so once you get like a little taste of what it means to sort of tell stories, it just kind of, you know, took off from there. So that's a really silly one, but it legitimately, like, if I hadn't been there trying to like support a friend who was feeling really afraid, I don't know where I would be. I don't know what I would be doing. And that was special.
What kind of so before I ask you this next question, I'll say
Yeah.
I always wanted to do that too when I was younger. But
Yeah.
I wasn't encouraged, and also although I was quite a sociable child, I was even more of an introvert. I was like played guitar
Yeah.
in my room and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So what was it about your personality that, or whatever it was, the love that pushed it forward despite your introversion?
It's honestly a really, really great question. Thankfully, I mean, I love both of my parents, have a wonderful relationship with them. They were incredibly supportive, and they were educators, so they were teachers, and so they, you know, encouraged exploration and discovery and learning and growth. And so I think that was maybe part of it. I was in an environment where it was like, yeah, like, try something new. You never know what you'll find or discover, or what you'll like or dislike. And so for me, I mean, honestly, I think even just like pushing into that audition at that early age, I went in because my friend was scared. And I was willing to be a good friend, and it was like, hey, would you do this, for your friend? She's really scared, go with her. And I was like, oh yeah, that's easy. Doing something together is, simple 6-year-old brain, like is better. It's easier. You do things together and it's not as scary. And so I think maybe that's part of what pushed me in, was just like, oh well, someone needs my help in something that I can help with. I can do that. I can sing happy birthday. And so, I think that was one of the things. And then once I got going, I realized that weirdly, I think people perform and tell stories for so many different reasons. And we often think of like, oh, entertainers and big performers as extroverted, whatever. And there is a level of extroversion required, I think, that is demanding in the sport of communicating and connecting and all of those things. It happens out here versus inside, which is really the difference between extroversion and introversion. When you're on stage with the lights shining and the audience is dimmed, it's really just you and the song or the scene and the person across from you. And it's always a really personal experience. Very rarely are you, so much of a story happens in personal decisions that people are making that are motivating, how they're interacting. So the actual experience itself is really just going, why am I doing what I'm doing? And how can I make this person that I'm talking to understand? Which is all we as humans are constantly doing. How can I get them to understand what I'm saying and what I want and what I mean? And that's an introverted and extroverted process. Like, this is how I feel. Now, how do I make you understand how I feel? And then the audience gets to relate to that in their own way. But when I'm actually performing, I don't think I spend too much time on like how they're perceiving or what the camera's perceiving. There's some awareness, like technicality wise, that eventually creeps in of like, oh, hey, if I hit my light, it's going to look better. But as far as the actual like scene work and study, sorry, Claire, you ask a question, I'm going to go off.
No, I love it. Keep
as
going.
far as the scene work and study, it's really personal, and it's really connected to who you're talking to across from you. And I think that's one way that I approach stories. Like, I love the beauty and the chaos and the brokenness and the heartbreak and the pain and the love and the joy of being human and humanity. And so getting to explore those dynamics is one of my favorite parts, because it makes me feel like I get to live such a full life, and I learn all the time. And I think maybe that's it for me. I'm pretty addicted to learning and understanding and uncovering, and so much of our work as actors is about uncovering things that may not be there on the surface, or that the writers have provided for you, that you have to find. And I think that's incredibly rewarding.
What about, like, I mean,
Period.
You've been that was good. I love hearing it though, because I've got so many friends who are actors or comedians or whatever else, creatives, and I love to hear what the passion is. It's always really the same. It's the love of storytelling for actors. It's like, no, I have the love of storytelling. But I want to ask you this question that's going to differ. Your answer will differ from whoever else I've asked. You've been doing this since you were, 6, right? Since you were a little girl.
Yeah.
And how would you say the way in which you tell stories as an actor has differed from that point of being super young? Obviously, you're just learning. And now, I mean, not that you're a super old person. It's just you're in your 20s now, but...
It changes.
Yeah.
It just changes. It absolutely changes. I mean, with maturity, with experience, with growth, with life, the way you look at things changes. I will say I've been one of those people from a very, very early age that was like clear on the joy of epiphany and the joy of recognizing that how I see the world now is going to be different in 10 years and is different from 10 years ago. And I like to be able to kind of sit in the present moment and connect to both of those energies and be like, wow, how I see this now may be different, probably will be different. And I hope it will be different, because that means I'll have explored or had my eyes opened or seen something in a new way. And so for me, my career, my craft has really catered to that energy where like you get a new role or a new character, or you start working with a new scene partner, or you watch a performance and you just get struck in new ways of like, wow, actually this time I'm just hearing the way that they speak. It's amazing. You know, the levels, the lines, the layers, there's so much vocal vitality. Or, oh my gosh, did you see the way the physicality of that pain is manifesting in his body, but you can still see the like open channel that he needs technically to get the job done. So you just change what you look at depending on what you're sort of working for. I think I've definitely evolved from the simplistic like, oh, this is fun and I really enjoy this and I'm doing something with friends that brings people joy. Honestly, that's still there, and that's probably how I felt at 6, and I still feel that way now. But I've of course been able to evolve why I do what I do, what I focus on when I approach material, and different mediums as well, working across film, TV, video games, theater. They all demand kind of different aspects of self. And also, I think one of the biggest ones for me, and funny enough, ties into my other life-changing decision, was when I auditioned for Middle-earth: Shadow of War. It was my first video game. I'd never auditioned for a video game like that before. I walked onto the Warner Brothers lot. It was Troy Baker, who was the director and the lead, and the reader in the audition room. I had no idea who he was. And so I remember also walking out of that audition being like, God, that reader was amazing. They should use him.
He's a lovely guy as well. What a nice dude.
Oh, yes. And then Jack Fletcher was also there, an amazing director. And between both of them, for me, it was really impactful. Jack Fletcher said something like this when I finished my callback, and I just thought it was really impactful. He goes, I never want you to walk into another room and give them what you think that they want. And I was like, oh, it was really... it sounds kind of obvious. Yeah. You'll hear people say things like that, but it hit in a new way, especially in that heightened environment where I was like in a callback for a role that I did well for and I did book and I did get to do the job. To just hear that reminder, it came exactly when it needed to, and it changed how I saw my craft and how I saw what I was doing for all mediums, not just games. And it really started the new understanding of like, you, honestly, you are enough, one.
Yes.
And what you have to bring and what you have to offer is exactly what you are intended to. You will never separate from your actual self. You're only going to discover dynamics of self within new characters. And it also just highlighted for me, like, any project, job, or story that you are intended to tell or be a part of, there is nothing that you can do to stop that from happening. And that was another really impactful perspective. So it gave me a new awareness about my career and valuing the individuality of what I bring, what my body brings, what my voice brings, what my experience brings, and how it took away all competition. It took away any of that kind of nonsense, which is just not how I operate anyway, because I just then could really appreciate, like, oh, when that person got hired for that thing that I auditioned for, I could just love them for what they had to bring, because if they picked them, it wasn't for me to tell. I was here to tell a different story. And so I don't know, that changed a lot of really beautiful things and really helped me, I think, become a better actor, because then instead of trying to reach for something that I'm not, it was very much that like, no, this is what I have to offer, and I will continue as a crafts person to develop, expand, and grow my arsenal of what it is that I can offer, but also this is what I have to offer in this moment in my time, at this age, with my level of experience. This is what I have to offer, and it's enough, and it's beautiful, and it's artistic, and it's wonderful. So again, just continuing to find little dynamics of peace and these like little words of wisdom that have been dropped along the way that provide just such new worlds of perspective on what it is that we're doing. And I feel that way about so many other elements of life, not just my work, and that's something I appreciate. Wow, Claire, a soapbox. What can I say? I'm just gonna go from one to the next. This is gonna be 4 hours long.
No,
Don't
I
ask
love
any
it.
more questions.
No, I love it. Like, it gives me great satisfaction when I'm interviewing people, and I mean, we've chatted anyway, and it's comfortable and things, so it's cool. But
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like question and answer. But it gives me satisfaction just listening, because I think I'm doing my job right if I've asked the right question that's made you go, oh, I want to talk about this. This is exactly what I want to talk about.
Well, you're amazing at your job. I'm just thinking in my head, Maggie was probably like, yeah.
Maggie
Totally. So great.
She would answer, and it would go for about a minute, and then we'd start like just goofing off. And
Yeah.
And then I try. It's interesting as a presenter. I really love understanding different personalities, you know.
Yes, and you do, because you meet so many kinds of people in such a specific environment that's repeatable, which is astonishing. So you have a framework, and then you really get to see like how people open up and what works and what I don't know. I think that's such a cool gift.
It's a very it's a strange sort of It's almost like I feel like Professor X. Sometimes you're like, who are you? Who are you? But you get a sense from someone pretty much, I think, within the first. When I meet someone beside the stage or by the side of the stage, I can get a sense from someone in about 30 seconds. If I've never met them before, I'm like, okay, this is the kind of person you're going to be. This is how I'll do it. Or, okay.
It's such an incredible skill. That's so hot. Why are you so cool, Claire?
Look, I spent many years watching TV on my own and dreaming and thinking and listening and watching. So, like, it's like now I can put the weird skill to use. My other weird skill is I can tell you any famous person's star sign. Anyone. I just remember it.
Literally, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, fuck.
It's hard.
Shit! My kryptonite is Nicole.
Your kryptonite is Benny.
My arch enemy. I'll name a celebrity.
Any celebrity.
I'll name a celebrity. Let me guess.
Is he not celebrity enough? He's in Marvel. He deserves to be celebrity enough. He's like.
Let me guess. He's
Okay,
kind of weird.
Take a guess. I'm gonna look it up so that I can fact check you. Okay.
Okay, I've watched several interviews with him. He's quite effervescent. So I feel like this is not my actual guess.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Muse on it, because I picked a hard one. You don't actually know when they were born, so you just have to go off dynamics of what you've experienced. So it's already impressive. So just start talking it out loud.
Okay, my hands are here, and you can see I'm not looking at anything. Okay, so he's quite effervescent. So I feel like he's close to Leo. All right, he's quite effervescent. He seems quite gregarious, but I don't know. Like, he doesn't. There's something. I don't think there's something not quite Leo about him. I'm gonna take a punt. I think he's a water sign, which is either. I think he's either a Pisces, a Cancer, or a Scorpio. Those are water signs.
Do you want me to confirm or deny if you're in the ballpark?
No.
Okay.
I need to confirm. I need to defend my power. Okay, so I think he's a water sign, but I think he's a summer water sign. So I would say, because I said the Leo thing, he might be close to Leo. So I'm gonna say Cancer.
That is amazing.
Did I get her? Oh. Okay, cool. Okay, cool.
Wow!
I'm telling you,
that is impressive.
It's my weird superpower. I don't know.
That is impressive.
Okay.
Do you know mine? Did I tell you mine? I think I did. So you already know mine.
You're an Aquarius. I strangely remember all of them. So Maggie's a Scorpio, Stephanie's a Libra, like me. You're an Aquarius. Yeah. Neil's a Leo, and Nick is a Pisces.
Look at that. Very impressive.
I don't know why I remember it so fucking strong.
I know so little, if I'm honest about this. Just so little. But I think because I just have a lot of Libras in my life. Do Libras and Aquariuses like each other? Is that like a thing?
We're air signs. So the air signs are Aquarius, Gemini, and Libras. And Libras and Aquarius famously make the best of friends. Like, they're always really good in terms of friends.
Okay, good. Yeah, okay. I have a best friend Libra.
And I've got like a really
And I
good
just like
Aquarian
you.
friend. So like,
Do you? And you have me. No one on Spotify can see this, but we are finger touching right now. Oh my god. Oh wow.
It's so powerful.
Just electric.
So powerful right now.
Absolutely electric. Oh. We could take over the world. We could do anything.
I know it sounds really weird on the spot. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Sorry. I'm sure some people are going to get a kick out of this.
Yeah,
podcast.
Sure.
There's going to be sound clips. But I say Aquarians, I like Aquarians because they're a very humanitarian sign. They're very of community, of people. But they're also... and they're a very head sort of sign. Doesn't mean they don't have a heart, but they're very much about their heads, and thoughts and mind energy. But they're also freaking weird. They're very original, and even if they don't look at it, they're quite cool as well. So when you first meet an Aquarian, they're very much like, I'm
like the coolest. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm like so chill.
So when I met you, I was like thinking, I like to know what star sign people are, and I kind of looked at you and I thought, I wonder, because you were like, yeah, at first you were like, oh, and then you went back and you were like, yeah, you were just listening and assessing.
Yeah.
And I thought, we do get on, but I thought you might be an Aquarius because you were like, yes, I will assess the situation and decide.
But honestly, it's also the like extroverted introvert thing, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I could be crazy chaos, but then also like I wanna know people. Yeah. I want to hear. I want to know. I want to, find out. I want to listen. I want to make sure I'm aware of what's happening around me and that I'm catering to the dynamics of everyone's needs.
Yeah, I get that. God, so, you would have thought we were in the entertainment industry. We're so insecure, but we're so goddamn. I just want to cater to people's needs. I'm kind of.
Yeah, no, I would never. I'm not a recovering people pleaser, even in the slightest. Nope.
I used to be more people pleasery in my youth. So when I was in my 20s, my youth is my 20s, Nicole. I do apologize. I am a very old lady, but like,
I just hush.
It was when I was much younger. I was in my earlier 20s, late teens, early 20s, and I was so obsessed with what people thought of me. And
that's a very Libra thing, though, isn't it?
It actually really is.
Isn't that like a super like aesthetics thing where it's like, oh, it's
gonna like be really great.
What are they thinking? Yeah.
And now that I'm older, I think I've accessed, if we're going to talk about astrology, I would say I've accessed my Sagittarius rising, which is more like giving actual shit about a lot of stuff.
That's amazing. I am someone who is much better at intellectually being like, cool. Well, here's the way in which I'm going to protect myself. Here's the way in which that is no longer my responsibility. Mm-hmm. Here's the way in which I, choose to not lean into perfectionism and that I choose to be enough. Here's the way in which I cannot make everyone happy. Like, I understand it now, and I'm still in the process of letting that sink into the emotional maturity and the emotional understanding, because I can understand something and be like, cool, I'm letting it go, and then still hold it emotionally in my body. And I won't make decisions based on it because, if you're talking from a heady thing, I know the right answer, but then I'm still working on navigating, like, when conflict happens, how heavily I feel that in my body and how much I'm like, oh, I don't want them to be upset. Intellectually, I'm like, can't control how they feel. That's not my problem, not my responsibility. How they feel about me, not my business, right? I understand it. And then emotionally I'm like, but also I just ow, like, oh, that really sits bad in my stomach. Like, is everything okay? Like, how can we make everything okay? So it's been really fun to watch that sort of evolve, and I'm such a weirdo. I love watching myself grow from like an outside perspective and being like, oh wow, that's so interesting. Like, look at how you're responding to this circumstance. A year ago you would have responded like that. Wow, look at you go, girl.
I like that lifelong transformation. Like, we're always shedding a skin, and it's not like we're changing ourselves fundamentally. But I constantly feel, especially in the last year, I constantly feel like I'm shedding a skin. And I've been trying to do what you're saying, to bring the logic and the emotion together a little bit closer. And I still...
Balance. It's always that balance in everything.
I can't find it. Like, for me, emotions are not so much like about myself. It's when I like someone, or when it's like a love thing, or when it's family. You know, so family and like things that are really deep. So family or love stuff, that kind of thing. I am like, it messes me up, man, and I have to go into robot mode, or else I can't get anything done, and I can't stop thinking about stuff.
Super challenging, yeah. Yeah.
I just can't do it. I'm like, nope, robot, nope.
When it comes to like shedding skin or that sort of thing, I like that metaphor. The other one that I like a lot, not necessarily as like I don't know, not a fundamental philosophy, but an idea that I at least enjoy exploring. Wow, look at her, so heady. Is the idea of life is the process of remembering that you're already whole. So every time you grow, you're actually discovering something that's already there. You just didn't remember that it was. And I think that's a really fun dynamic, because it really starts to kind of empower that, like, oh, there are things in me, there are aspects of self, of like this infinite version of self, that I don't know yet, and I'm gonna get to uncover. So your idea of shedding, I like the word uncovering. I like uncovering, oh wow, I have this dynamic, and we train those skills and we evolve them and whatever else, but like your capacity to see something good or bad or anything in the gray area of that in anyone else is always a reflection of that same capacity in yourself. And so that's how you learn to not take anything too personally, because you recognize when people come up and like compliment you on something, I love the energy of like, wow, their ability to see that in me, whether or not they've recognized that in themselves, is their own capacity to appreciate and love that element of themselves, and they're extroverting it onto me, which is really cool. Same thing with the other way around. When someone comes in with something negative, something whatever, they're always projecting an aspect of themselves, either one that they're rejecting or one that they're currently contending with, onto this other person, and they're choosing to dislike or to put something negative out in their space, because that's something that they are actively trying to reflect back to themselves, whether or not they've acknowledged it's actually them. And so it is a way that I approach my growth all the time. When I'm resistant to something, or when I see something in someone else that I don't like, I always love to step back and go, oh, so interesting. What element of yourself are you rejecting or not appreciating or trying to bury that you haven't addressed, that you are then finding annoying in that other person? And I just think it's a really, really powerful way to have so much empathy for others, and also for self, to go, oh wow, there's an aspect of myself that is dark in this way, or there's an aspect of myself that has the capacity to be that thing that I don't like in someone else. And by acknowledging that, I can heal my energy towards that and make a choice to be something else.
That is really interesting.
Isn't that a fun idea?
I mean, I've recognized it in the negative aspect, because I spent a long time feeling a certain way. Sometimes things would be said to me from a very young age, and then through a relationship, and sometimes through friends as well. Certain things would be put on me, and I used to always think, oh, maybe I shouldn't be like this. Maybe I should make myself smaller. You know, people didn't like it when I went bigger, you know, and I went weirder. And now I've shed skin, whatever you want to call it.
Well, absolutely.
And now I've become weirder and whatever, and I feel much more comfortable with myself doing that. You kind of uncover it.
Which is beautiful, because the only reason they were telling you to be quiet and sit down and get smaller is because they disliked the aspect of themselves that didn't give themselves permission to be that way, and you were giving yourself permission, and they're jealous of that. How dare you give yourself permission to be that free? How dare you give yourself permission to be that expressive? I wish that was me, is what's happening deep down, but they can't address that. Instead, it's like, oh, why would you? That's so out there, that's so rude, that's so selfish, you know, is another one that comes
selfish,
in. And selfish is a really unique concept, because I understand, as someone who like does appreciate harmony in a space, and you can see sometimes when someone is pulling away harmony from a space by their, you know, insane individuality. You know, we've all met those people where it's like, come on, read the room. But also the energy of that also comes from being like, hey, you're allowed in myself, you're allowed to express and be large and not always be wrapped up in the harmony of the space, because respecting yourself will only make you a better, more powerful, more influential, more kind, more loving person to everyone else. And that just comes to that dynamic of the more you love yourself, the more able you will be able to provide the kind of unconditional love to people around you. And I just think that's a really powerful part of being human.
So powerful. I'm going to start thinking about it in not the negative way now, what
Yeah.
you said, the positive way. And actually now some things that my therapist has been telling me are clicking. Thank you, Nicole.
Clicking, yes! Let's go, queen!
Thank you, second therapist, Nicole.
Yes, ma'am.
But my therapist, I was speaking to my therapist about a specific thing. It was to do with relationships. And and also I was talking to a friend about this a couple of weeks ago because we're both quite similar. So I'll start with my friend. I said to him, I really hate when men in particular, even if I like them and they're whatever, they come on real strong. Even if they're not being freaky, they're coming on real strong. And he went, I'm like that with women. Oh, I don't like it at all, because I'm like, oh, have you not fixed yourself? You know, like, do you really need me here? And I was like, yeah, like, why do you need me? I spoke to my therapist about this, and she said, no, some people just communicate in a different way. It's not always that. It's probably because you are so scared of being like that. That is very confronting to you. And I know my friend, it's confronting to my friend. So
absolutely, it's something that you're afraid of being, because you see that you just recognize that capacity. Oh, that could be me. And then what's really fun is the next step past recognizing in yourself is going, oh, actually, now I understand that person more, that I previously was just like, oh, no, please go away. Yes. Now I understand them more. That doesn't mean I'm going to choose to spend time around them, because I may be actively choosing to not be like that person who's representing a dynamic of myself that I don't want to be. Great, we become more like those that we're around, so choosing very selectively who you're around is important. But it is so cool to then be like, oh, you know what? Now I have empathy. Now, instead of being full of hate for that person, I can go, you know what? I see where you're coming from. I really do. I wish you well. I send you love, and I send you on your way.
It's lovely. And it's like, good for you.
It's such a healing way to interact with people, because then, I don't know, just it's spreading more of that love and less of that conflicting dynamic. Is powerful. And Claire, like, not to keep going with this, but you go to conventions all the time. I've had the joy of getting to go to some conventions in the past year, and just to take it out of the negative to the positive, it's been really empowering to, when you get all of this attention, right, and a lot of people coming up and being like, oh my gosh, I love this and I love that, and like, wow, you really did this. Some of those stories are so powerful and so sometimes overwhelming. Like, if someone comes up to me and has like tears in their eyes, I'm done for. Like, I will meet them in their weepiness. My like energetic boundaries are so paper thin sometimes when it comes to like how people are approaching. And one of the elements that I found really empowering is when people come to me with something really positive, and sometimes they're shy or quiet or whatever it is, and here's this big thing that they really saw in me. I love the energy of being like, oh, I'm just a mirror for something that you appreciate and love, that you are capable of, that you have the power to do. And so like coming up with that energy of like, I'm a mirror, is a really wonderful way to then connect and see the person in front of me and go, oh, how interesting that like this dynamic that you see in me is what you're focusing on, because that represents a really specific place that you are in your world and in your discovery of self and how you interact with others. And so especially because it's all positive, it becomes this really fun, self-affirming, like, wow, like I'm so honored that I get to be a mirror for that joy, enthusiasm, safe space, whatever it is that they're excited about. And I don't know if I have an end to that thought, just that I like it. And it's really a beautiful way to look at meeting people that I don't know who may know me more than I know them, simply because of the nature of my work. I don't know. What?
Very Comic-Cons, conventions are extremely positive spaces. There's a spectrum of people there, of different sort of mental capacities and abilities from different backgrounds. And when I look out into a crowd, when I'm doing a panel, I like to see I like to just sometimes take in the audience. So someone might be talking and I might just start looking at the crowd and just smiling. I'm not being vacant. I'm genuinely looking at people going, look at all these strange people sitting together. Isn't this nice? And they're all dressed really weird and it's great. Some of them are normal, dressed in their clothes. Some of them are cosplaying, families, old, young, whatever. And I think it's a nice, and they're all coming together for this one thing, to watch this, to see this. And it's very positive. And even on the other side, from the guest perspective, meeting lots of creative people, for me, working in the space has been really inspiring, as someone who's working in that space. I've met people that now I'm going to collaborate with, and they have inspired me and to do different things. So it's a crazy space, but it's a very creative and interesting space. The people and the guests have completely changed my life, like completely.
Little bit of that two or more gathering energy of like, oh, we create something here together.
Yeah.
You know, there's an energy, there's a dynamic, there's something inspirational, and it's why we go. It's why we're excited to connect in shared spaces, whether that's from a concert venue to a Comic-Con. We go to collect with other people that are different than us, but like-minded in some way. And then because we're bringing all of our individuality into a shared space, we're creating something of oneness that's so electric. And then you get to walk away being like, I've been changed. I don't even know how, but I've uncovered something, you know, like I've been exposed to something, and I may not have words for it, but it's made me better. And that's the attraction to then go back and find other shared spaces, or shared, in this case, like IP and stories and stuff that are inspire and impassion us, and why we collect around these different stories. Yeah, we've always done that throughout time. Beginning of time, we've collected around stories. It's become a shared experience to understand each other, and to relate in powerful and beautiful ways. Okay, thanks. Goodbye.
Don't be paranoid about speaking too much. I love the chat. I wanted to ask you though, because I was thinking there, like, you know, I guess we're both lucky we get to work in a creative space, and you especially get to be a storyteller, and you're so passionate about what you do and the people that you work with. But is there something outside of acting that you want to try your hand at, to be a creative person and to really delve into, that might uncover something else about yourself? It could be music or something. It could be anything.
So actually, I'm currently in the process of doing this. Okay. I have been learning, and I'm someone who's just like, I want to learn new things all the time because of that exact element. But right now, I've been learning to swing dance and to Lindy hop and to partnered social dance. And I'm loving it. I love jazz music, so that helps. But it's really new for me, and it's something that really demands you be very present, very in your body, and listening constantly to the person that you're dancing with. And that has been so many little shared things that are incredibly impactful for me right now, that I think change me as an artist and a person and all of those stuff, because it just demands incredible presence, and if anything, to not be in your head. So it gives me a space where I go, oh, my job is not to think. My job is to feel and to be in my sensory space, and I'm doing that in a place that is safe, creative, playful, and has specific rules that I can kind of like follow and know, so that my job is to just learn and create within these boundaries, and I am loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. So that's been my current thing, and I'm really excited to like get better at it. It's been really fun to watch other people and be like, that's so cool, like I want to learn to do that. And there's a whole community of people that do this kind of social dancing and sort of keeping that art form alive, and they're incredibly passionate, and so it's easy to feed off the passion of others and see why they love it. So yeah, I'm just kind of exploring that right now, but I've had many throughout my life. I love photography, I love music, I really do. I love singing, I love I even like painting now and then, and I've never deep delved into studying that, but occasionally I'll doodle or I'll draw. but I haven't like dived in, you know what I mean? You find different things that you dive into, and I think right now I'm sort of diving into this world because there's something there that I'm meant to learn. In fact, I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. I'm supposed to be here right now, so I'm just enjoying that.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying getting back into music, and
Yes.
I've done that over the last sort of year or so. But I released an EP last year, but then there's been a few people that I've spoken to.
You have an EP, Claire? I'm so sorry. Never mentioned, never led, and where is my link, ma'am? You have my number. I deserve a link.
It's really depressing. You'll see it's very...
We love it. We love a moody, broody moment. There's wonderful space for the mood and the brood. It's such a good place in music, too.
Oh, I love it. Do you know what I've discovered through music? It's like, I think... This is going to sound like a really wanky thing to say, but it's true when I'm making music. When I'm singing and playing or making music, that feels like the truest place for me. Like when I'm there, it feels like I am really, that's the soul, that's the heart. And it's a very strange thing when I'm singing a song and playing guitar and I got my eyes closed. I feel like that nothing is around and no one is there and it's just me, and I feel like I'm high, and I open my eyes again. I'm like, whoa, oh God, it's a very strange feeling.
It's slow, and it directs right back to where we started this podcast with, which is there's an introverted nature. There's something incredibly deep and quiet, personal, and finding the ability to be in that moment with people watching, with the mic rolling, with whatever is a skill set that has to be developed. But you really are just taking. As an artist of any kind, you're saying, here's a moment that's incredibly impactful and incredibly powerful, and it may be ineffable. There may not be words for this moment, but because there's no words, then I have this cinematography, I have this photograph, I have this painting, I have these notes, I have these, right? That's our desire to express. We have something ineffable, and so we have to find the words, the notes, the tune, the paint to try and describe this incredibly powerful and impactful thing. So I think that's beautiful. That's you just connecting to your inner artist and your moment that says, hey, I have something to say. I need to be heard. I need to be expressed. I need to be experienced. And sometimes that's just for you. And sometimes it's, I need to be shared. You need to share this. Someone else needs to hear this, because you don't know what seeds you plant. And that's, I think, one of my very favorite things. The cons and the internet provide a lot of feedback, which is really cool. Like, we actually get feedback on stuff. But when I am doing my work, or you're working on that song, you're not thinking about the seeds that it's going to plant. And so often as an artist, we shout into a void and never, ever, ever will know what impact that has. And then very rarely, in very special circumstances, you'll get the letter or you'll get the note, or someone will come back and be like, hey, this meant everything to me. Yes. And you go, wow, really? I was just doing it because I was called to, and I had to, and I didn't know why. And so there's so much of that Hamilton, I'm such a musical theater nerd, planting seeds in a garden that you will never get to see the trees grow, but someone else will. And that's something that I love about being a creator. It chokes me up. I just think it's beautiful. I'm such a...
I love it.
I'm such a, like, give me a hug, guys. Wow, being alive is amazing.
We're just talking about the ethereal connections, you guys. Ethereal life connections. It's all good, man.
And to be fair, as someone who's intends to be optimistic and positive and talk with all these little glowy words, like, please know, and especially you talked about, like, it's really depressing. Like, what we're doing is leaving space for those hard feelings and those hard emotions. Mm-hmm. I don't deny pain. I don't deny struggle. I don't deny the incredibly challenging dynamics of what it means to be alive. This art creates space for that. And I think that's something that I love, because it creates space in a way that lets you uncover, discover, shed, create, and show, like, hey, you're not alone. Other people feel this. And so much art is a wonderful way of saying, hey, you're not alone. I see you.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I think I never really understood it before until probably the last couple of years. And it's so cathartic if you can do it. And
Yeah.
I do think that society would be a much happier space if more people were encouraged at a young age to
Yeah.
express themselves.
Express that.
Not necessarily through acting or music, but it could just be through
No.
making something else or writing or anything you want. Anything.
I think everyone, if we want to get more philosophical, everyone is an artist of some kind, of some sort. It does not have to be a career, but we all have a desire to express. And so regardless of where you work or how you work, I often say, like, hey, ask yourself, like, how are you letting yourself express? And sometimes that's to read, and sometimes that's to interact with other art forms, and that's a way of expressing. But yeah, just saying, hey, in what ways am I allowing myself to explore, even at really, really gentle little things. My dad folds and creates origami box designs. He's one of the most amazing artists I've ever met. But like, he has origami books, and like talking to people that fold origami is really fascinating. Just like fold paper, how wonderful it is for the mind, how challenging it is. And that's that's a hobby. That's something that you enjoy. I'm sure some people it's a career, but like that's just something that we do because it's beautiful. There's a lot in I think Japanese culture as well that kind of has that like appreciation and love for beautiful things and beautiful objects and just things, like it being worth tending to something or taking time on something simply for the state of it being beautiful and simple, like bonsai and all of that, and origami. And yeah, I don't know. I love that. We could go on and on forever. I'm excited about everything, Claire.
I feel like we need a part 2 of this podcast at some point, like maybe later in the year when I'm closer to a new decade and I'm feeling a bit rougher around the edges, and then I just call in my second therapist, Nicole, and she's like, right, okay,
I'll be here. All right, let's talk about it. Let's find ways to inspire and move into this next space of self, because this is an exciting time. This is a marker. This is a movement. You're moving into a new movement of your life. I'll come in there with all the words, girl.
Okay, you do that, and I'm like, you tell me how my metabolism moves faster and my grey hairs move out my fucking head.
We're going to affirm my fast-moving metabolism, my healthy eating habits, my exercise, and self-love of my body and where she's at.
I feel like we should start a kind of almost like not like Goop, not like Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop, but kind of like that, just like healthy mind. Cleansing.
Oh yeah. Oh, girl, I'm all about. Did I have my green tea and my journal time this morning? You better believe it. You better believe it. Did I sit there and admire my 10-year-old orchid who's in full bloom and go, "Wow, that is just spectacular." I was born for it. You let me know. We'll start the healing hour whenever you want.
When I move to LA, we'll find a nice little green spot. I'll get the camera.
Oh my god. Does that make us sound so LA? Do I sound so LA? Is that what comes across?
Not gonna lie, it sounds a little bit LA. It's okay. I like it though.
It's a little bit LA. Okay. Look, there's a lot of great people in LA. Okay.
I love LA. I want to go there. I feel like I'll get the camera on. We'll wear like matching like sort of like outfits, just like maybe velour tracksuits. Let's just go like that.
I could just imagine British people listening to this and being like, "Oh, you do sound like you live somewhere where it's always 70 and sunny."
Look, I'm from Glasgow. I'm like from the complete opposite of like LA.
70 and sunny.
I'm the opposite, and today I had to walk through central London like in the rain, and I was like, I hate it here, I hate it.
And then you gotta meet me, who's just like, oh my gosh, rainbows and sunshine and essential oil diffusers. Wow, the air smells so nice.
That is going to be me very soon. Like,
it's gonna be you so hard. I can't even wait to see you go into your full like state. You're gonna be in full
Oh, I'm gonna go full cult. That's where I'm gonna go. Just go full cult.
Claire came to LA, joined a cult. We're not concerned, but no. We're just keeping an awareness.
Started a cult. I ain't joining one. I'm gonna start one. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I don't doubt that. I'm
offering you a position in my cult.
Have you been reading your co-star too often, and co-star is telling you to like start a cult? That seems like something co-star would say.
Awful. It's the most negative. It's like the worst app. Co-star, like I got my ex to download it and he was like, okay, and every day he'd look at it and he'd be like, I feel terrible. Like, this is making me feel bad.
I had a chaotic friend that I love be like, you have to download it, I want to see. And I was like, okay. And I was just always like, this is chaos.
It's so bad. If you want to feel bad about yourself, then you download Co-Star.
Also, it's definitely like AI writing this stuff, isn't it? It's gotta be. It's gotta be some like AI technology that's just like, let me just come up with really abstract concepts that I'll leave you open to interpret. And then sometimes it's like, sit down, stop doing that. And you're like, oh god, okay.
I deleted it. I was like, no.
We're done with you.
When I get to LA, this is the podcast, right? We're gonna sit down in a green space. We'll get the camera on, and it'll be very silent. We'll concentrate on one object a week. It could be any object you want, and we'll just stare at it and just tell the people how we feel about the object.
Appreciation hour. I love that. My back to my silly dad. He does guided meditations. He's a life coach and hypnotherapist. I wonder where some of this positive self-talk comes from. It all makes sense now. And so he does like meditations and teachings on Insight Timer already, which is an app that I love. That has like all sorts of like, you know, whatever, just guided meditation stuff. And so like, yeah, Claire, we'll get an object meditation week by week. We're just gonna sit here and
object meditation. What's gonna be our first object? What's our first object? I'd say, I've got one.
Go.
Plastic saxophone.
Oh my gosh, for me, it's the flowing movement. It's both a natural and unnatural object. There's a lot of angles happening. There's a flow. There's a shiny metallicness. There's a level of attempting to be something that it's not. It's pretending to be something else. So there's a masked nature to what this object is trying to communicate to us, meaning there might be something to uncover.
Oh my god.
I'm ready. Let's get going.
We're gonna do it. I'm not even kidding you. I've got the idea now, and it's gonna stay in my brain. I'm gonna write down a list of random objects, and we're gonna do it. And
we're gonna come there and be like, here's how I'm gonna make this. Here's how I'm gonna basically BS my way through making this object really deep.
And you know what? This will be the thing that makes us money in LA. Forget acting, forget presenting.
Oh yeah, okay. Great.
This is
object awareness meditation week by week.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. But Nicole, where can the people find you on the social media? Tell me.
Hi everyone. I am at Nikki Lee Tompkins on Instagram and Twitter. You can find me at Nicole Tompkins on Twitch. I'm currently playing through Resident Evil 4 Remake, bringing on actors and the cinematic director and people that worked on the game, because many of them are my friends and I love supporting and getting excited about their work. So check that out. All those streams also end up on YouTube. I think if you just type in Nicole Tompkins, you'll find me. I just posted the new Resident Evil 4 Part 2 with Nick Apostolidis, our mutual friend who plays Leon Kennedy himself. So yeah, go check it out. Come hang out. I'm a jolly time.
Go and throw some objects at her and just like get her to like describe them.
Pontificate on these objects and how they're meaningful to you in your life. Look, we love symbols. We operate in symbols. Don't get me started.
Oh my god, part 2 of this podcast is going to be incredible.
Symbolism as it relates to self and discovery.
Symbolism and object therapy. That's what we're going to. That's the route we're going down.
With Claire and Nicole.
So many. This is another podcast idea. We've got the object. Oh my god. Anyway.
Claire, thank you for having me. You're such an angel and I adore you so much.
I love you, Nicole. Thank you. I'm so glad that we met. And guys, everybody listening along on Spotify, I know it sounded weird for a moment, but it's okay. We're all right. We got through.
We're doing great. And hey, big thank you to anyone who is listening. Take what's helpful, let go of the rest. I hope we were able to bring you a little smile or just something quirky along the way.
And this has been Hot Pod Time Machine. I'm Claire, that's Nicole, and we'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye.
Hot Pod Time Machine.